I've asked him for 30 minutes this morning, so keep an eye on the clock. We'll not run late. But Jason,
You're going to shut me off at 30 minutes. That's it.
you can keep on talking, but
You won't be here.
I'm leaving at 9:30. So Jason had a chance to meet him back in the fourth quarter last year, and he took over for the previous director, Andy Nichols. Jason brings a wealth of experience.
Mark, something's wrong with your mic. You're making a weird noise.
Not again. I better not be.
That sounds better.
Don't know what I did, but had a chance to meet Jason and then was part of the interview process and couldn't be happier to announce that he was selected by Mayor Hutto to be the new director for Wilson County CVB. Brings a wealth of knowledge and experience, and as you're about to find out, a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and team building. So, and he's hit the ground running. Help me welcome Jason Johnson. Good morning, Jason.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you all for zooming in with us here today. Like Mark said, I had a chance to meet, Mark, I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much. I have a lot of background, like I say, with team building and business development and hospitality, and I hope that I can definitely bring that to the table here. Concerning the hitting the ground running comment, I feel like it's been hitting the ground stumbling between tornadoes and pandemics and all. So it's been definitely a curveball of a learning experience with that. But with that, when you take on a position in times like that aren't the most ideal, you really learn to look outside of yourself and look to others and try to gain knowledge from other CVBs and other tourism departments. So I've been doing a lot of that, speaking with some people at Cookeville, Goodlettsville, definitely the state with theirs. So we're getting a lot of great information that we're going to be able to use in our county to really make it prosper. We're very much in a sweet spot regarding what we have, and that's outdoor activities, that's social distancing, allowable activities, that's things that a few people can go do, and then the things that we don't have, which is the large gatherings that are kind of scaring people off right now, for lack of a better word, or lack of comfort in that. And quite honestly, based on our hotel rates and our hotel inventory. So we're very much set up coming out of the other side of this pandemic, moving forward. And, we're seeing it already, that the people are starting to lose this sense of shouldn't get out, can't get out. We're to the point of we're 3 months in now of this. It's starting to lighten up. Restrictions are starting to lighten up. The consumer confidence is growing some, enough that they're getting out to some of our things that we have to offer tourists and travelers and visitors, and it's really starting to show right now. Last week, Gail Hibbert, if anyone's had a chance, Gail Hibbert is a new marketing director at the Expo Center. We speak quite frequently. She had the Slammed Enough event, which is a little import car tuner show type situation, and they literally had 1,800 cars out there, 3 times what was expected. So you can see it's to the point of anything. Let's get out and do some stuff, definitely. And like I say, Wilson County, we are set up for it. There's a lot of great things coming at the Expo Center as, again, restrictions are lifting more and more to allow for, occupancy and things like that. Dance competitions, gun shows. Again, the Redneck Rumble is going on this weekend. Another old car show that's very popular. And we do that twice a year out there, so that's good. And then one of the major events that unfortunately was canceled for us on the first round was the ACO Cornhole event, which is a major cornhole event that it brings. I spoke with a gentleman in Owensboro, Kentucky, and they had a sold out event for that in January. And that was, of course, before pandemic when things shut down. But Frank, who is the president of the ACO Cornhole, they're looking at really ramping things back up. They've had several major events canceled, so that's just really building momentum for that coming into our event, which will be October. So those are really some great larger events coming. You know, we've unfortunately had the fair, with things being what they were, not being able to happen this year. But we're working closely. The CVB is working really closely with talking to the chambers and talking to Gail at the Expo Center to try to figure out some sort of alternative, something going on out at the fairgrounds for sure, for tourism, for not just for tourism, but for the community. Because honestly, the fair it's good for tourism, but it's great for the community. And I feel like my focus, as it is on tourism, being the tourism director, is there, but I also definitely want to focus on the community and the community aspect of things. There's a lot of great things going on in the community, smaller events, and we're really pushing those as well. I had a meeting with the chambers. Mark, you were there for a little while yesterday, meeting with the chambers and the Expo Center to kind of get a concise idea of what's going on with everyone in the community, so we can kind of get that out. As far as smaller events, smaller things going on that we're seeing growth on, you know, Shop Springs Creamery out towards Watertown, you can't get in there on a Sunday. It's wrapped around. You know, the Cedars of Lebanon State Park, we're looking at capacity restrictions that are being met almost every day with things. The murals, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to be to run out to Charlie Daniels Park. We've just finished that's the third mural in our murals initiative, the Paint Wilco Murals Initiative. It's getting fantastic social media traction. It's doing great on that. And we've got about 5 more that are in the works. So as far as people getting out in the community and seeing things, that's going to be outstanding.
Let me ask you real quick, when you were talking about the community partnerships, things like that, and it's probably too early to tell, but as events come into town, how can what can we do to help strengthen provide opportunities for businesses that want to also benefit from those people that are coming into town, whether that's our restaurants having a better idea of events, if we're going to get bombarded with teenagers, with senior citizens, with veterans, events like that, we feel like there's an opportunity to help connect, even if it's just getting marquee business owners with marquees to put out welcome 2020 rodeo or whatever. But we've left opportunities on the table over the years in that, I think.
Well, and this was an issue that we had talked about in yesterday's meeting, and we're going to continue to kind of figure out and brainstorm it. It definitely starts with communication between all of our entities, the chambers, myself, the CVB department, and the Expo, and anywhere else that's having events, to get one central, database, if you will, of things going on, what's going on with that database, to be able to communicate with each other about, hey, what is this? Is this going to be, okay, it's kids. So do you mean kids 8 to 10, or do you mean kids 17 to 21? What are we talking about, to kind of be able to market towards them and to be able to, hit less of maybe a Chick-fil-A type situation or more of this type situation, things like that. I brought up the example yesterday in a meeting, and I'll bring this up again. When we go out to eat, my wife and I, we go to J. Alexander's downtown Nashville sometimes. It's one of our favorite places. But when you go in there, the hostess seats you. As soon as you sit down, someone else comes by and there's your drink order. And then somebody else comes by. So you've had 2 to 3 to 4 points of contact coming into your situation. So you feel welcome, you feel hospitable. So in saying that, I spoke with Gail and Mark and Melanie, the chambers of, if Gail gets an event at the Expo Center, a large event, well, as soon as she's talking to them, then, well, Jason's going to be contacting you here shortly. I'll be contacting them, figuring out hotels, figuring out what we can do, figuring out what kind of what kind of crowd it is coming in. And from there, it's going to Mark or it's going to Melanie at the Lebanon Chamber. And hey, this is what's going on. This is the demographic of people that's going to be here. This is roughly the number. Spread the word for your restaurants. See if there's anything for the restaurants we can do. Let these people know this is what you have in your community for restaurants and shopping and what have you.
I think that's exactly what I was talking about, because if we know ahead of time, we can properly staff our retail, our boutiques, our stores. We can plan for traffic, and we can also not plan something on the same day as another big event and shoot ourselves in the foot with that. So I'm glad to hear that. Have you had any interaction yet with the, I think it's Wolfgang out at, with all the teepees in front of Reba McEntire's former place at Cherokee? If you haven't seen that, folks, they're starting to make it look like a, Indian camp out there.
I've driven by there a couple times. I haven't had a chance to contact anyone out there yet. To be quite honest with you, Mark, I was wondering exactly what was going on out there for the longest time.
I saw a sign they were having a bluegrass hoedown or whatever. I don't know, but I'm not a social distancing expert, but those teepees look about as close to being socially distanced as you can get. So, and along those lines, as you've had a chance to do a little inventory of Wilson County, what you already knew, what you've learned since you've been in this position, what assets do what assets do we have that maybe we're not taking full advantage of? It seems like previous directors, one of the first things was the waterways, the lakes, the lakefront, things like that. What do you see in that would be opportunities for us for tourism events, tourism attractions that we already have that we just might not be taking advantage of?
Well, based on the previous directors, obviously the waterways is very important, especially right now when, we're still at the social distancing and we're still looking strong for outdoor events and events that people feel comfortable doing. Cedars of Lebanon and things like that definitely continue in that same similar vein. I feel right now we've got a lot. And it's a shame that the Mother Earth News Fair was a large fair. It was supposed to come to the Wilson County Expo Center mid-May. And of course, it got canceled, unfortunately. But in conjunction with that, we were looking at doing the Wilco Farm Tour. And that was going to incorporate several of the farms around the area, Breedens. And like I say, unfortunate things happen at Breedens, but we're thinking about Amy out there and hoping she can get back on track soon. But with Breedens and Shop Springs Creamery and different places like that, there's a lot of hands-on things that a lot of people, especially transit people moving to this area, people visiting this area, have not got a chance to do. You get people moving down here. My neighbor across the street moved down here from Chicago. The other neighbor moved down here from Baltimore. You tell them that, hey, there's a place that you can go out and pick peaches. Or there's a place where they, dairy right out there where there's ice cream. That the stuff that may seem to us as, I want to say almost ordinary, we drive by it every day. We see it every day. We have to understand as Wilson County that what may be the things that we drive by every day could be just absolutely extraordinary to somebody else. We just have to see it in their eyes. I grew up on a farm, so a dairy, okay. But for someone who's lived in downtown, Baltimore, who's never necessarily seen a cow, I mean, that's amazing to them. So there's a lot of things like that. Our boutique shops, people just fawn over these boutique shops, my wife being one of them. So for these people that are, you know, the Green Hill shoppers and these big time shoppers and these, you know, downtown Chicago shoppers to come in and see these little finds and to even have a tour of shops, if you will, to set up something like that. You know, the big white elephant in the room, the obvious one that's coming up down the pike is the Nashville Super Speedway. Mark, if you want to talk about, you know, what we have in inventory that's going to work with us. I spoke with Rob. He's the Vice President of Business Development for Dover Motorsports. And we'll be speaking in the next probably week or so once the dust kind of settles on the business deal out there to really start up something with the Nashville Super Speedway and try to figure out what we can do in partnership with them.
What I know that we've lost some events. The chamber lost a pretty significant event back in April, but upcoming events that are still on the calendar, and if all continues down this path, that we might likely see tour groups coming in, events, Hate It for the Wilson County Fair. What are you looking at later in the year, and maybe some feedback from what you're hearing from the hotels?
Well, to your point of the hotels, I can tell you that Star reports are showing that our hotels are staying at a stronger occupancy rate than pretty much any place else around. So, and unfortunately, that was some due to displacement of families for, you know, tornado and stuff like that. But our occupancy rate is higher than most any other county around. So, in that, we're still seeing some a good amount of occupancy and some, I guess, some confidence in our hotels. And speaking with the hoteliers, they are starting to see a little bit of rise in occupancy as people are getting out and moving. Regarding larger events, I think Gail said that probably close to 75%, if not more, of the events that were scheduled were rescheduled later in the year.
Good. So
it's either later in the year or the first of 2021 calendar year that we've got things. So I guess you can think of it as we haven't lost, we've just postponed from that.
All right.
You know, I guess that's a positive way of hopefully looking at it, that, you know, we've not necessarily lost the income. We're just waiting on it a little more. You know, with, like I say, with the cornhole event, we lost that one, but I'm speaking with Frank on our October event to possibly roll in another one in spring next year.
Well, that's all good news. I was going to ask you one more question here real quick. Hotel feedback, partnerships, local business calendar events. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts for Jason? I know that Mount Juliet, when the Christmas store opens up, the Christmas place will be I think they're expecting it to be large because it's probably the first site plan that I've ever seen in Mount Juliet that included parking for, I think, 4 or 5 tour buses. So that was kind of a big deal. We'll have to keep them entertained, I guess, in Wilson County as long as we can. I would imagine.
You know, speaking with Mr. Sellers out there, I know that there's several plans going on out there. So I think it's going to be outstanding.
Well, does anybody? Yeah, great. That's all. And tell us where your office is. People, a little bit about the CVB's been around for a long time, but funded by county government. Why don't you introduce or at least tell us the names of your staff and where your office is?
Okay, so we're located 400 East Spring Street in Lebanon. Basically the building right in front of the education complex in Lebanon. There has been talks down the road of a possible moving of the office. And like I say, it's just in the talks and works, a possibility to more of a visible location. But right now we're here. It's myself, Ashley Shores, which is our marketing specialist. She's the genius behind all the posts that you see, Facebook and all that, mocking that up and getting the copy for that. So valuable asset there. And then Caitlin Vale is our administrative assistant. if I ever need anything done, she's right there for me on that. So it's the three of us here in that right now. As far as the CVB, like I say, it's funded by hotel motel tax. So basically, as you know, it's not necessarily a taxpayer funded thing in the citizens of Wilson County, but it's as we get heads in beds and staying overnight in our hotels, that's how we're funded on that.
We call often refer in a nice way to tourists as temporary taxpayers.
There you go.
We need temporary taxpayers, and
That's perfect.
as often as possible. So let me look real quick and see if there's if anybody's got any questions. Again, we did have a question. We're gonna clean these up, these videos, and get them to where they're formatted right, and we'll start to archive probably maybe within the next couple of weeks. We'll find a landing page on our website, and then these will be available for you and for others to feel free to share with your contacts and prospects as well. So
Just real quick, Mark, I don't know if you remember in the interview process that I had some time ago, I was asked to bring a project or something to the table for that. And that project that I brought was Tour Your Own Backyard. And that initiative came about as me basically researching Wilson County. You know, I've been here for 15 years, so I knew Wilson County, but as I started researching, I realized I did not know Wilson County. There's so much more that you don't realize we have. So I started that initiative just in my head and kind of joking around with people. We're putting out an article in Wilson Living Magazine next month with that Tour Your Own Backyard. And I challenge each one of you guys to really look into touring your own backyard and seeing what's out there in Wilson County. I can sit here and I can scream the accolades of Wilson County and I can market all I can, but the people of Wilson County speak so much louder than the CVB could probably speak in what we have in Wilson County. So get out and just, you know, on a weekend, you don't have to go somewhere to go somewhere. You can get out and hit some shops around the community, and there's a lot of great things out there. I definitely say get out and do it.
Mina just typed in a couple of reminders, probably even more appropriate now than ever before, but the Stardust Drive-In in Watertown has been selling out and hosting special events. And she mentions also that Lester Farms is open and bringing some cool food trucks in. So I know that Circle S is open, and it won't be long before Chad Bernard starts putting out the lights for his Christmas thing, and that's always a big draw. So
I saw him at the commission meeting the other night, and I said, "It's about Christmas light time, isn't it?" He said, "It's getting there. It's getting there."
I think he waits till about the end of August or the 1st of September. But Jason, thank you for your time. Does anybody have any questions or final thoughts or anything? This is sort of like Coleman and Company light here is what we're finding. So,
Hey, Mark, it's Julie. I have a question.
go ahead.
Hey, Jason, Julie Rooswald. I own the Basement Marketplace,
Yes.
which is a retail shopping experience on the west end of the county. We're in Old Hickory. We have an Old Hickory address, but we're in the city limits of Mount Juliet.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that the Convention and Visitors Bureau had been in the past helping like promote local events. Some of our businesses have, you know, everything from craft classes to pop-up markets and craft fair, different things like that. Is that something that you plan to continue? And if so, how do we get our events submitted to you for promotion?
Well, I mean, not to speak out of turn for anybody with Mark or anyone at the chambers, but with all of us coming together, like I said, to kind of communicate about what's going on, I guess, and I'm again not trying to talk out of turn for you guys, but if get with the chambers and then the chambers can come and we can all come together with our list of events. In other words, the chambers will handle the events on that level, and then they'll bring them to us, and then we all come together on that. Believe me, I love the idea. To me, right now, especially again, coming out of unprecedented times, as we've overused the word, the more movement and the more things that we're seeing in Mount Juliet and in Lebanon and Watertown and Wilson County in general, the better. That's showing people, you know, they go on Facebook and they may see like your event that you're talking about. Maybe that's going to get them, maybe it's not, but what the fact of the matter is that event in particular is going to show that there are things going on. So the gentleman that's coming to the gun show in a few weeks might not come to that, but you can darn sure bet that his wife probably would while he goes to that gun show. So I think the more movement and the more events that we're showing shows that we're not just stuck and stagnant in this, that we're ready to welcome people. You know, Wilson County waits. Wilson County is doing things right. We're ready. Bring it on. So, you know, you can send those events right to us or send them to the chamber. And if the chamber has more of a concise listing of events, that then they can pass on to us. Either way works.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Julie. Anybody else for Jason before we wrap it up? 3 minutes early. Y'all are great. Jason, see you soon. Let us know what we can do, okay?
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
Have a good
Thanks for
day.
the support.
Bye, everybody.